I'm coming to you today to hurt my own feelings. Hi guys, welcome back. If you see my bangs looking bad, be nice to me. I'm trying to grow them out. I don't know how to style them. I am terrified to look at bad reviews of my favorite books on Goodreads because it hurts my feelings. And it makes me second guess my rating. But today, for you guys, I am going to do that. I'm going to look at 1-star reviews of some of my favorite books. I'm just praying that these reviews don't change my mind about my babies. Not gonna lie, I'm literally so scared right now. The first book I'm gonna be looking at reviews for is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This was my favorite book of 2024. So here we go. Okay, there's like barely any 1-star reviews for this because it's so good. Some of these are so long-winded and like I don't want to read a whole entire paragraph about how much you guys hate my favorite book. Like, the plot of the book is all right, yada yada. It took around 250 pages for what was mentioned in the blurb to actually start happening. In fact, I'd consider the blurb and my plot summary to be a minor spoiler because of this, but there wasn't another way to explain the plot. Not valid. Sorry. I found the plot to be slow and the pacing in some parts of the book was slightly off. While the beginning was very interesting, the mystery behind Bree's mother's death couldn't hold my attention for long. Again, not valid. I just get defensive. There were some plot twists in this book which were written well. Thank you very much. I don't understand why people would rate a book a 1-star and then say a bunch of stuff that they liked about it. This is literally paragraphs and paragraphs long. Okay, I just feel like from what I read of that, I disagree. I'm definitely split writing this, but I won't give into rewarding something just because it has cultural value. The Black part of me likes that the author tried to acknowledge and put in some of our struggles, but I don't think it was done in a productive manner. She portrayed a consistently victimized Black person, and this is just one perspective that isn't truly reflective of the total Black experience. I can't speak to this, but I definitely feel like her feelings on this are valid. Like, I'm not going to dismiss that, because obviously I've never experienced the Black experience, so that could very well be valid, and I feel like I can't really speak on that. So let's just keep moving. DNF'd at 18%. I usually don't leave reviews on books I can't get through, but this is one of the highest rated books on here, and I just cannot in good conscience let this go. First of all, the info dumping is real. I cannot even tell you the basic outline of all the powers and the legend, whatever else may have happened because my head hurts from trying to understand it all. I mean, I will say that the magic system was like a little bit difficult for me to grasp in the beginning, but I feel like once I got more into it, I like figured out what was going on. And I just kind of picked up on it, you know? I feel like a lot of fantasy books are like that, where like you're just kind of like blindsided and you're like, I don't know what's going on right now. But then eventually as time goes on, you start to understand more, which I will say can be annoying. That can be annoying. Like, you just want to know what's going on and you just want to understand. So I feel like that's valid, but definitely not a reason to DNF in my opinion. And then she goes on to say that Bree is so effing obnoxious. I understand what she was dealing with and everyone deals with it differently, but she was just so pretentious about it, and every time she referred to herself as after Brie was so cringy. Personally, as someone that's been through intense grief, if you didn't know, I lost my husband in 2022. I can firmly say that there is a difference between the person that you were when they were alive and the person that you are after they have passed away. I found the grief aspect in this book amazing. I thought that it was really accurate, and I actually liked the whole before Brie, after Brie thing because it's so relatable if you've been through it. Your life gets turned upside down. Moving on, let's try to find one more. DNF at 37%. This book just wasn't for me. The world building felt all over the place. The relationship between Bree and Nick developed way too fast. I mean, returning to a title you abandoned for good reasons because of someone you just met. And I didn't especially like any character, and this pretty much insta-love made me roll my eyes so hard. See, if you finished it, you would maybe realize that he was only the initial love interest. And I feel like that's like a dead giveaway in books when it's kind of like insta-love, but there's like another character off to the side that is like a little bit flirty. I feel like that's just like a dead giveaway that the first person isn't going to be the main love interest. So yeah, let's agree to disagree, but this is my baby and I just don't feel like any of that was valid. Besides the whole black experience thing. Not gonna speak to that. I feel good because I feel like none of that would have brought my rating down from this book. So we're doing good so far. Next up is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with this book. The writing is so beautiful. My absolute favorites, obviously. Let's just get into it. Every time I pick it up to read it, I find I have read 3 to 4 pages without having retained anything. I don't care about these characters. I don't care about their dramas. I don't care about hockey. I don't care who wins. I don't care who gets cut from the team. I don't care about underlying themes or struggles or personal issues or faulty marriages or teenage culture. I just find myself wanting it to be over. So that said, I have asked myself, despite the rave reviews, why am I doing this to myself? There are books out there that I look forward to reading, books that make me want to exit my life in order to embrace, and I'm going to read those books. I may revisit this in the future, but not now. See, I feel like that's valid. Like, if you're not vibing with it, then you should definitely DNF. Like, that's been like my motto this year. If I'm not vibing and like I am just pushing myself to read it for no reason, I'm gonna DNF it. And like, I do understand that like the hockey part of it isn't like interesting at all, but I cannot get behind not being invested in these characters. That is what keeps me going with this series. It is not the hockey. Believe me, I am not a hockey person. I don't care, but somehow Frederick Bachman makes me care about hockey in these. It's so good. So I feel bad for this person that they weren't able to get connected with the characters, because that's really what keeps it moving for me. The writing is unrefined, simplistic, and melodramatically monotoned. The story, which drags on twice as long as necessary, forces cliche characters to face a side-choosing modern moral question with an obvious right and wrong answer, and thinks it explores a complex, contrived situation with depth, but instead it stumbles through caricatured people having unrealistic, forced conversations, all told with an excessive amount of eye roll, inducing dramatic platitudes. I couldn't disagree more. I could not disagree more. I think that Frederick Bachman has the best grasp on the human condition, and I don't feel like these characters felt like caricatures. Like, they felt genuine to me. See, now I'm just like, that one just makes me fired up because I feel like these people feel so real. Wow, this was bad. I love his other books so much, but this was a big disappointment. Didn't like the story or the characters and couldn't wait for it to end. It was too much like a YA book. My head actually hurts from rolling my eyes so much. Only redeeming quality was how great his writing is. I don't know what else to say besides I disagree. I will say that these reviews are making me question if I'm simple-minded. Honestly, it feels like some of these are pretty pretentious sounding. But again, you guys know I'm 100% for people liking the books they like and not liking books that they don't like. Like, I'm 100% for everybody having their own opinion, and I'm not going to say that anybody is wrong because their perspective is different than mine. That's just what it is, you guys. We all have different perspectives, so I'm not gonna keep saying that. I'm just gonna say it right now. Like, I do believe in people having different opinions on books. So with that, moving on to The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. A classic, amazing. I don't really know if I actually know anybody who doesn't like this. I've had this book recommended to me several times over the years. I don't know why. Not only is this book completely terrible, but it is also not the sort of thing I would normally read. I did, however, approach this book with an open mind. I expected to like it, but not love it. What I didn't expect was to hate it so passionately. There are just too many things wrong with it. In all honesty, I do not understand the success this book has achieved. For me, it is complete rubbish. You're just wrong. Respectfully, no. No. This guy says it's far too unrealistic. Guy, this is not far off. This is not far off. I will say that this review was written in 2016, so maybe in 2016 it was unrealistic, but in 2025, not so much. One guy just says, I am now stupider from reading this. This is aggressive. Now this is a book I'd actually burn. With a cruel smile playing on my lips, I watch as the merciless flames devour the book, watch as the edges of the pages singe and then turn black, watch as they slowly crumble to ashes, which blow away with the wind. I turn around and walk away. 1 star. The characters were flatter than paper, and the title always made me hungry. This is actually like funnier than I expected it to be. I expected to be like actually genuinely hurt, but like to me, I'm just like, these people actually just like don't know about it. They just don't know about it, you know? And that's fine. All right, coming off of 3 really popular books, I'm gonna dive into one of my favorites that's not as popular and I feel like could hurt my feelings more. So that's The Book Eaters by Sun Yi Dean. Unfortunately, this was a rare DNF from me. I had been so excited to read this. The premise intrigued me, but sadly the reality just didn't live up to the promise. I found it to be a little boring and devoid of any real emotional presence, which meant I didn't feel invested in the story or any of the characters. I guess this book was just not to my taste, as there was nothing wrong with the writing itself. I can certainly see why others have thoroughly enjoyed reading this, and I would be happy to try other work from this author in the future. I appreciate this review. I feel like this is being nice, and they clearly just didn't like it. They didn't pick up on the vibes, you know? This book is really vibes for me. I felt like I was like in this world when I was reading this. And if you're just like not picking up on the vibes, like the setting, then it might be a little bit slower for you. So I can see where they're coming from. I personally didn't find it slow because of how much I loved the setting and the characters, but I can see where somebody might think that. DNF at around page 110. Too lazy to check. I don't even know where to start. This book gave me the worst ick ever. Made me extremely uncomfortable with its deeply misogynistic world and all the talk about infertility and women being used to make babies. Ugh. I fear that's the point. I fear that is the point of this book. You're supposed to feel icked out and horrified at the misogyny in this book. It is a statement. Not just that, but I just don't like the writing style, and besides, the story is really tedious. I didn't care for any characters either. So, kind of like what the other guy said. It's like a little tedious and slow. God, my bangs, you guys. I'm gonna literally crash out. Oh my god. Just don't make fun of me. I know they look bad, okay? I know they look bad. I personally loved the writing style, and again, did not find it slow, but I can see how people find it slow. Probably the worst book I've read, to be honest. At one point, I had to be intoxicated to read through it and get to the end. This took me over a month only because I had no will or drive to read it. Would not recommend, and I'm very glad to be done and on to the next book. Good for you then. We don't need you in this community. Bye. Sometimes I wish I could see the books that these people read. I mean, I guess I could like click on their profile, but I'm not going to be like so creepy and crazy. But like, what books do you like compared to this absolute masterpiece that you said was trash? Just, I want to know. Next up, guys, A Court of Wings and Ruin, my favorite book in the ACOTAR series. 202. That's the number of times the word mate in any of its hellish forms is used in this book. 202. That statistic alone should be enough to justify this 1-star rating. If you feel satisfied enough to just remove yourself from this review, run with that feeling, because I have like 7 pages of shit to complain about. It kind of sounds like you were invested though, girl. If you were literally counting the amount of times that mate was said in the book, you know? Like, you kind of sound invested though. Too bloody long and too damn bloody. Definitely not worth the time. Maybe I was high on Reese's glamour like Feyre Darling was while reading this last book and put it on a pedestal, but now I see so many flaws in the characters and in the plot and narration it makes me miss Amarantha? Jesus, girl. Wow. That does make me sad. I feel like it was good because it was bloody, honestly. That sounds like I'm literally insane, but I just love a good battle. I love a good battle. I love when my characters are in danger. It just gives me an adrenaline rush, okay? It's like, I'm an addict or something. I don't know. I vomit a little in my mouth every time I see someone gushing over Rhysand or any males written by SJM. Boring, jealous, and toxic. Yeah, but like that's what makes them so intriguing, you know? Like, ooh, I love a good jealous man. And yeah, maybe they are a little bit toxic, but like I'm sure there's so many other books that have way more toxic male main characters than this. And lastly, guys, let's see if I can get this done before my son gets home. City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. This was a tough slog for me. My main reaction was boring. I could not find any reason to like or be interested in Vivian. Again, kind of like the book Eaters, I can see like if you're not invested in the characters in this, how like it could be slow, because it is kind of like watching the characters go through their lives, like day-to-day lives. And if I'm personally not invested in the characters or the story, then like something mundane like that would also make me want to DNF a book. I hate that this book made me cry. I hate that I stuck out to the end waiting for something, and I really hate that people are singing the praises. Nothing happens in the first 55% of the book. Nothing. Not a thing. Then for 20 pages we have the most boring and lame conflict ever, to exist only to have it resolve in another 250 pages of nothing. This one like hurts my feelings because like, again, like if you're not invested, I can see how it is like a little bit mundane and it might feel like there's nothing going on, but I just can't personally say that. I cannot agree, because I just love these characters and this world. Like, it was so fun to me. I loved going through the day-to-day with these characters. DNF at 57%. The audio narration was okay. The female voice was absolutely condescending and hard to follow. It was a drawn-out coming of age and I just couldn't connect. I love stories set in the 1940s, so I was pretty bummed out to quit this one. I heard it was pretty heavy on the sex. You weren't kidding. The type of sex was very cringy and uncomfortable to listen to. Her first time, throwing up emoji. Anyway, so many love this book, but character-driven books are typically not my thing, so if that is your thing, you may love COG. Maybe a slog for people that don't get connected with the characters. I feel so sad because these are some of my favorite characters ever, and like she said, like it is very character-driven, so if you don't love the characters, then like I understand. I'm not gonna demonize you for that, I guess. As far as the audiobook, I think I did listen to partial of this book on audio, and I can't recall if the voice sounded condescending. I couldn't have been that cringed out by the voice because I didn't DNF it, or I couldn't have been that cringed out. So I guess I disagree on that, but I'd have to listen to the audiobook again to give my actual thoughts on that. I would love to know if you guys have read these books, or if you guys have ever looked up 1-star reviews for some of your favorite books. I'm actually very surprised that this did not hurt me more. I feel like a lot of them just kind of felt like invalid compared to the feelings that I had for them. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video fun. Let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments. But until next Friday, bye!